Good Sunday morning, Northeast Ohio, and then there were 20. Former Vice President Joe Biden making it official this week, joining the crowded list of Democratic presidential hopefuls. He's going to be in Pittsburgh tomorrow for a campaign kickoff event. Pennsylvania, along with Michigan, Wisconsin, and of course Ohio, playing very big into Biden's presidential plans.
These are the heroes, man.
Whether it's talking with doctors and nurses at the Cleveland Clinic as part of his cancer moonshot effort, or shopping in the Cavs team shop after the 2016 championship.
I got him a LeBron t-shirt. You know what I mean?
It's for the grandson?
No, it's for Barack, for the president.
Joe Biden has always had a special place in his heart for Ohio.
It is probably the quintessential middle-class state in America. How goes this state, how goes manufacturing, how goes jobs is one of the bellwethers of the nation.
That's why his path to Pennsylvania Avenue will come with a Pennsylvania-Ohio focus.
Ohio has a lot of appeal for Joe Biden and vice versa. He's more moderate than progressive. He's got experience. He identifies with the working class, and it's genuine. His stories of coming from Scranton, PA, I think resonate very much in places like Youngstown and other small towns around Ohio.
Yes, Scranton is a place Biden likes to talk about because it is a place that shaped him and his philosophies.
People in my neighborhood didn't care who got credit for the job, bringing a job back, as long as they had a job, as long as they could own their house, as long as they could send their kid to school, as long as they were able to be in a position where they could turn to their kid and say, honey, it's going to be okay.
They are qualities, some would argue, that Sherrod Brown would have brought to the race, and although Brown wouldn't admit it, Biden getting in likely played a role in his decision not to.
I think so. I think Sherrod both practically and ideologically sees that Joe Biden is the candidate who really you defer to. I think also Sherrod sees Biden as one of the top people who has a chance of beating Donald Trump as a Democrat running.
While that's true in the general election, Biden must first get through that crowded Democratic primary process, which has shifted further to the left since he was last on a ballot. Well, speaking of ballots and voting rights very much on the minds of Congress this week as they took a road trip to Cleveland. The House Subcommittee on Elections held a field hearing Thursday in Cleveland. With the 2020 election coming up, Congress is trying to tackle the issue of voter suppression. Lawmakers from both sides of the aisle discussed issues that could prevent people from voting in Ohio and how to fix them. That includes the state's controversial voter purging policy.
I think it's important that we realize that the fundamental base of our democracy is the right to vote. Also, the right not to vote. But it's important that we realize that you don't lose that right to vote simply by not voting.
As elected officials, it is our responsibility to make sure that every American feels that they have the unfettered, unabridged right to vote. We should not say, because you didn't vote today, I'm not going to let you vote next week. The Constitution says you have a right to vote. It doesn't say if you don't vote, I'm going to take it from you.
The lawmakers suggested adding more voting locations and expanding the types of IDs people can show when they go to the polls. Speaking of voting, there's a vote going to take place later this spring that could be a game changer for the city of Cleveland. It's a vote to decide where to hold the 2021 NFL draft. The city just missing out on this year's draft and next year's, but they're not giving up hope. The draft pitch was simple and spot on, approaching the 100th anniversary of the founding of the NFL here in Northeast Ohio.
Introduce them to the future with the past and bring it home.
Cleveland, along with Nashville, Las Vegas, Kansas City, and Denver, were finalists for the next two drafts. Nashville got this year, Vegas got next year. As for 2021,
we were very much in the hunt.
The Greater Cleveland Sports Commission is keeping their hopes up.
We were asked to rebid again for 2021, and we're still very much in the thick of it. We expect to hear, hopefully sometime this spring.
It was only 4 years ago that the NFL took the draft out of New York City. What followed was unimaginable success. 2 years ago in Philadelphia, the draft drew 250,000 people, 63% of whom a post-draft study found were from out of town, upping the total economic impact of the draft to $95 million, almost 20% higher than expected. Last year in Dallas, the impact was even greater, $125 million. To put that in perspective, the impact of the RNC here in Cleveland was $188 million.
It's really become this pilgrimage and a huge 3-day NFL party.
And remember, Cleveland is within an 8-hour drive of half of the NFL markets, giving them a powerful base of fans to draw from. Cleveland reps are in Nashville this weekend going to school on what they're doing.
Seeing how they do it, what Nashville is doing, what the NFL is doing down there. So should Cleveland get chosen, we'll make sure that we're ahead of the game in terms of ideas on how we want to set the bar.
So with the 2019 draft now in the books, It is now the NFL that is on the clock, with the decision on the 2021 site coming as early as the owners' meeting in May. With Democracy 2019, I'm John Kosich. Enjoy your Sunday.